Welcome to the Unit 8, Section 1 video on understanding polynomials. A monomial is a number, a variable, or a product of numbers and variables with whole number exponents. So some examples of monomials are numbers like 5. You can have a variable by itself like x. You can have a combination of some coefficient and variables like negative 7xy. And that coefficient does not have to be an integer. It could be something like 0.5, and then we have x to the fourth to add on to that monomial. So it's a single term. But just because it's a single term does not make it a monomial, because things like negative 0.3 x to the negative 2, that's not a monomial because we cannot have a negative exponent. You've learned that negative exponents mean that the variable would be in the denominator, and we cannot have a variable in the denominator, which is why 2 over x to the third also is not a monomial. Also, it cannot be more than one term, and terms are separated by pluses and minuses. So 4x minus y would be 2 terms, so therefore it is not a monomial. The degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents of the variables. Okay, so be careful here. If you have an exponent on the coefficient, that is not included in the degree. A constant, or something that is just a number, has a degree of 0. So let's take a look at each of these monomials and see if we can find the degree. For a, we have a square on the a and a fourth power on the b. So if we add 2 plus 4, we'll get a degree of 6. b is just a number. The number 4 has no variables attached to it, so the degree of this is 0. 8y, you have a variable. The exponent of that variable is understood to be 1, so this is a degree 1. For d, we have two variables, one with the second power and m with the first power, so 2 plus 1 gives us 3. For x, we have a first power again, so we have a degree of 1. And then 2c to the third, we have a third power only on a variable, so we have a degree of 3. A polynomial is a monomial or a sum or difference of monomials. The degree of a polynomial is the degree of the term with the greatest degree. So let's take a look at what that looks like. For this polynomial, we have two terms, 4x and 18x to the fifth, or more appropriately, negative 18x to the fifth, because it does lead with a minus sign. So we take a look at the degree of the first term, which is 1. We take a look at the degree of the second term, which is 5, and we take the greater of the two, which is 5. So the degree of this polynomial is 5. For this one, we have 3 terms. The degree of the first term is 2 plus 1, which gives us 3. The degree of the second term is 1 plus 1, which gives us 2. And the degree of the third term, since there are no variables, it is degree 0. So the largest degree of all of our terms is 3. So the degree of the polynomial is 3. For this one, we have 4 terms. The degree of the first term is 4. The degree of the second term is 2. The third term is 1. And the last term is 0. And so the greatest degree of the 4 terms is 4. So the degree of the polynomial is 4. The terms of a polynomial may be written in any order. However, polynomials that contain only one variable are usually written in standard form. The standard form of a polynomial that contains one variable is written with the terms in order from greatest degree to least degree. When written in standard form, the coefficient of the first term is called the leading coefficient. So in this example, we're going to write each polynomial in standard form and then give the leading coefficient. So for the first one, we have 20x minus 4x to the third plus 2 minus x squared. So our greatest degree is negative 4x to the third. So we're going to lead with that. Then the next highest degree is the negative x squared term. So we've got minus x squared. Then we have a 20x, so plus 20x. And then finally, degree 0 is the 2, so we've got plus 2. So now we have our degrees going from greatest to least, and we have it written in standard form, and our leading coefficient is -4. For this one, our greatest degree is 5, so y to the 5th starts, and then we have plus y to the 3rd, and finally plus 4y, with our leading coefficient being understood to be 1. Some polynomials have special names based on their degree and the number of terms they have. So let's start off by taking a look at the degree. If we have a polynomial of degree 0, it is considered a constant. And every time that you have a polynomial of degree 0, it is going to be a monomial, and it is going to be a monomial that is just a number. Then if we have degree 1, it is called linear. If we have degree 2, it is called quadratic. If we have degree 3, it is cubic. If we have degree 4, it is quartic. Degree 5 is quintic. And then as we get into higher degrees, 6 or more, we just call it a 6th degree polynomial, a 7th degree polynomial, and so on. So that's classifying polynomials by their degree. We can also classify by the number of terms they have. And so if we have a polynomial with 1 term, we know that's called a monomial. If we have 2 terms, it's called a binomial. If we have 3 terms, it's called a trinomial. And then as we go into 4 more terms, it's just called generally a polynomial. Now keep in mind, a monomial, a binomial, and a trinomial are all polynomials. They just have special names to them. So let's classify each polynomial according to its degree and the number of terms. So for 5x minus 6, we have a degree of 1. That's our 5x term. And we have 2 terms. So this can be referred to as a linear binomial. Linear because we have degree 1, binomial because we have 2 terms. For this polynomial, we have a degree of 2, and we have 3 terms. So degree of 2 makes it quadratic, and 3 terms makes it a trinomial. So this is a quadratic trinomial. Here we have a degree of 7, and we have 4 terms. So we refer to this as a 7th degree polynomial. For this example, we have a degree of 3. We have 4 terms, so this would be considered a cubic polynomial. Now for 6, this is degree 0, and it has 1 term, so we call this a constant monomial. Thanks for checking out my video in the Algebra 1 Honor Series. You can subscribe to my channel. I've got the next video queued up for you, and if you need to check out any of the videos in the course, I've got the course playlist for you here as well. Thanks for watching.